Okay, welcome back to another tutorial for NStudio Xplat, a library for Narwhal NX extensions, which allows us to use multiple Node.js frameworks and share code between them. So let's go back into the folder which we used to create all our stuff in the previous tutorials. So for me, my folder it's in the home folder, dev/tutoring/xplat/my workspaces. For you, it can be whatever you set it up for yourself. I'm going to list what's going on here, and then I'm going to open a VS Code. So here's my VS Code. In the previous tutorials, we have set up an Angular web application, which has been shared with libraries and Xplat web. But right now, we're going to go a little bit further, and we're also going to set up a Nativescript. That way, it will be much easier to see what sort of code gets shared where. So without further ado, npx nx generate app. Name for this app. Okay, tutoring. I'm just going to call it tutoring because it's going to prefix it with a framework anyway. I'm going to select Nativescript. Routing, yes. I want to use Angular with Nativescript. Xplat supporting architecture, yes. And now we're going to install all the packages. While it's installing, I'm just going to have to mention one thing. I would really recommend that you set up an Angular project before you set up a Nativescript project, because there are some libraries that are interchangeable between Angular and Nativescript. So I would recommend you install Angular project, as we did in the previous, I believe it was in the very first tutorial, especially if you're going to be using Nativescript with Angular setup. Okay, now we're going to have to see which directory should be generated. I'm just going to skip this, let it generate it by itself. Okay, now our Nativescript app has been installed. Let's examine our project tree here. So, in the apps folder, we got Nativescript-tutoring. Keep in mind that whatever app name you enter is going to prefix it with the type of framework that you're using. So, for example, Nativescript is Nativescript. For web, it's web. It does not prefix it as Angular because it's under web and then Angular. So it's considered to be web app. Then over here, under Xplat, we have now a Nativescript folder. As you can remember in the previous tutorial, this is the folder where all our Nativescript shared stuff is. So if you created another Nativescript app here, all the stuff from the Nativescript will be shared with the other app as well. For web, if we created one more Angular app, we could use this folder to share all the Angular related material between multiple apps. Over here, the libs, this stuff here gets shared between all the libraries. I mean, there's a way to override it and add libraries which can only be put into specific projects, but we will deal with that later on when we're actually looking at the types of projects that do not get Xplat supporting architecture set up for them. We'll be looking at that in the later tutorials. Anyway, let's try and launch our Nativescript application, see if it starts up okay. So now in the package JSON, we have this Nativescript commands to launch our Nativescript apps. as well as we watched in the last tutorial, workspace JSON now will have some files that are related to the Nativescript app as well. So let's try and find it. Here it is, Nativescript tutoring, and here we have the serve for iOS, for Android, to clean the application, and also to build it, which should be around here somewhere as well. Actually, I believe it just uses the builder configuration, that's it. This is it here. Let's see if it actually starts up. So we need this command, npm run, and then the command that I copied over there. Keep in mind that you need to have emulator installed, or you need to have your phone connected in the developer mode to your computer. In my case, I'm just going to be using an emulator. Let's go for it and see if it works. So I have my emulator starting up. Hopefully there isn't any noise coming through the mic, because sometimes when it's starting up on Linux there's some sort of noise in the sound. Okay, looks like in this case we got some sort of error here which says didn't have enough storage space to install the app. Let's just try restarting this thing and trying again. That didn't really work out. So I really had to look a little bit deeper into what really happened and why it wasn't installing with that memory issue. And it was actually something really obvious that I don't really know why I didn't think about it right away. When I was working on other projects, and actually this is good that it happened, because now I can show you what the solution is. When I was working on other projects, I had a lot of different apps already being installed on my emulator, but the emulator has limited amount of space because it is sort of a virtual machine. So over here already 88% of the space on the system is used up. And if we look into the storage and into what that storage is used for, over here we have other apps. It's almost 1 gig of space. Let me see, not 1 gig actually. Yeah, 0.98 gig. So, and here we see that, for example, like there were basically apps here which were like here. This is my Nativescript tutoring, so it's about 91 meg sized app. So, and there was a bunch of them, so they all took up the space, and that is why that problem was happening. So I had to just go in and remove all of them from the system in order to be able to do this. So to remove it, just basically go in here, hold down app info, and uninstall. So I had to do to a bunch of the previous apps that I was working on, and that cleared up space, and now we can set up and try out our thing. So let's do that now. And here's our app. So everything is working this time, no problems, enough memory on the virtual emulator, and we're good to go. So this was it for this tutorial, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Let me know what you think about all these. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.